Scalar, Gragas, same idea. Champions like Nautilus are something they like to flex, which means that just taking away Nautilus is just less of a headache. You don't have to think, oh, what if they put it mid, what if they put it support? They can flex it till 5 on red side.
Do you think it frees up a particular bot lane matchup that they would have won?
Ornn is open. Ornn is open.
Yeah, that should be first pick Ornn really fast. I'm not sure what Origen wants to trade for that, but I can imagine they have some scaling picks in mind that they want to trade for Ornn.
I mean,
Aphelios, I guess.
you'd imagine that it would be some sort of...
Aphelios Karthus is something, maybe. They prioritize the Karthus highly. They prioritize the Gragas, which is still available as well, which means they might go Aphelios Gragas, which is honestly, if you ask any team in the LEC, that's a solid 1-2 right there. Is it worth Ornn, though? I'm not sure, you know? Like, Ornn is a different kind of beast right now on this patch, and, well, to be fair, he's been a different kind of beast for most of the spring split, but people haven't really noticed.
I always have a question, though, because the thing is like, while Ornn works as a flex pick, there certainly must be teams that don't have the same comfort to flex Ornn around, even though he is relatively easy to play. Do you think in a scenario like this, if you grab Gragas Aphelios and you still assume that that's going to be Finn's Ornn instead of Larsen's, do you think
I think that's obviously like not bad, because you can take scaling picks into Ornn. Ideally, like the thing about Ornn is that he outscales pretty much every tank, but you can also play any tank into him. So it's like you can accept having a poor early game. They lock in Ezreal Yuumi right there, so they're just saying, we're scaling.
Oh, I enjoy it. I enjoy it. The only question, you know, I remember when everyone's perma-banning Akali, I just want someone to leave it open, because I think no one had practice on it. And maybe Rogue is in a similar situation.
But it's the same thing happened with Pantheon at Worlds. It's just like, do you want to risk Pantheon running over you and being the laughing stock? Not really. That said, Leona gets locked in immediately against Ezreal Yuumi. Leona can skill E level 1 and stop Yuumi from even detaching at all. So the amount of pressure Leona puts on Yuumi starting level 1 is really huge, because they can't even hide behind the wave, right? Like champions like Nautilus and whatnot, at least Yuumi can like dismount, maybe win the level 1 a little bit. But against Leona, she takes E level 1. When Yuumi gets rooted, her W goes on a 5-second cooldown, whether or not she's been in or out of the champion, which means that Leona as a general champion hard counters Yuumi.
It's also a great comfort pick for Destiny. I'm curious if they're going to try to pinch the Misfortune away, because you would assume then that would be the grab for upset, or do you think that there's another champion that could possibly carry?
Aphelios is already locked in, so I think he's quite happy playing Aphelios in the bottom lane. I would assume that's not going anywhere else.
My assumption that Aphelios wouldn't even get through the picks ban.
So Kled gets banned. They respond with Aatrox ban in order to not get Aatroxed on 4. I'm guessing that's for the Ornn. Gragas also gets banned away, makes sense. Olaf blind, Olaf into Gragas, something Inspired likes playing. He's probably respecting Xerxes to be able to play the Olaf. So honestly, it seems like a pretty reasonable draft here. They go Renekton, which I honestly think that's a terrible pick.
Set is open. Okay.
Maybe
Flex Set into Ornn, no?
I mean, well, I think there's...
I don't think anything that wants to break Ornn is good into Ornn, because that's exactly what Ornn wants you to do. He wants you to try to break him. So when you're picking a champion like Renekton and you're just openly... Like, Renekton into Ezreal, Yuumi, Ornn is like... You've got... Usually Renekton has like 20 minutes. Against this, he has about 10. Like, he's honestly not going to be a champion as soon as level 6s are reached, because Yumi's ultimate, Ornn's ultimate, they make it so hard for Renekton to play the game.
It's very strange that Renekton. The question is, you know, both of these top lanes would even play Set, right?
It's a flex, but it's such a bad flex. Like, why would you want to flex Renekton there? Getting the LeBlanc Lee Sin on 4-5 means that Renekton has nowhere to go. He's never happy. He's going to be put...
Kingdom.
He's going to get put in the top lane, and he might be 20 CS up, but he's going to be utterly useless against all these picks. So maybe Alfari is good enough of a Renekton player to make it work, but into this mid 2v2, there's no chance Renekton can go mid, in my opinion at least. Maybe
it's also really hard to pick a mid laner into this. Yeah, Gragas jungle.
I think it's fine. I think Gragas does really well into LeBlanc specifically, has a lot of gank threat on her, and then...
Just the damage mix is going to be really, like, weird,
Okay, hold on.
An AP.
The Renekton on 4, honestly, just, like, it left a really bad taste in my mouth.
It felt like we were really fine with everything that Origen were doing, and then you saw the last 2 picks, and both of you immediately pulled off.
At least pick Pantheon. At least pick Pantheon. Pantheon is a strictly better Renekton when you're seeing the enemy team, because at least Pantheon has the opportunity to jump on the Yuumi, to jump on the Ezreal, and burst them.
I just think simple, Rogue, full draft Kingdom. I think the only way Origen accomplish anything in this game if they snowball super hard. I think the 2v2 with the magic damage is just too bad, honestly.
So I want to get like very quick percentage predictions that Rogue win this one. What's your percentage, Bopo?
I think it's 50-50, because the bot lane matchup is still a flip. Like, I think Ezreal Yuumi into Aphelios Leona, like Gragas has prime time going down here and making something happen. And if that actually happens, then it doesn't matter what's happening on the other side of the map, because Aphelios can take over any game. That said, Aphelios into Lee Sin or in LeBlanc, he's not going to have that an easy time of team fighting.
I'm giving it 70-30 for Rogue, man. 70-30, I think it's draft Kingdom.
I'm just not sure about the Ezreal Yuumi. I would for sure. The Renekton is almost like a useless filler pick, and I'm 100% sure it's garbage, but maybe Alfari can pull it off.
So that much faith into the Aphelios. Do we think that Origen are just going to be able to brute force this one because they have better players, or
I mean, their lane matchups are very strong, right? Renekton will have priority, Ezreal Leona will have priority, and then mid lane will be where the game gets decided, right? The mid lane, whether or not Corki can actually fight the LeBlanc off the wave and they can contest the 2v2, will decide whether or not the side lanes will be able to hard pressure or not at all.
Match of the week here between Rogue and Origen. Yamato calling it the Draft Kingdom for Rogue. Brippo saying it's still 50-50. It's a coin flip. Roll a D2 to see who ends up on top in this game.
Yeah, seems like a lot of faith has been lost in the OG drafting, but OG coming in with a strategy right off the bat, straight into this bottom lane. They do have a sweeper on Xerxes as well, and a whole lot of pick potential here. Hansama will spot them out, and notice Hansama actually running the cleanse here too against, or with a Yuumi, with a heal and an exhaust. So like the analyst desk was already talking about, Rogue have identified this bot lane is very, very exploitable and are going to try and play as safely as possible.
They definitely are. You can see Vander on the Yuumi. As Brippo was saying, Leona is a very good counter into the Yuumi. If you lock her down, it's very difficult for her to jump back and remount onto her teammate. But Ezreal can just jump away with his arcane shift. So assuming Vander spends a lot of time on Hansama in that bottom lane, it's actually going to be quite hard for the Leona to find those engages.
Yeah, so the thing I'm looking for Origen to then do is actually get the rest of the team involved. Xerxes, get down in bottom lane, Nuke Duck too, because if you run at the Ezreal Yuumi in a line, they're going to get away. If you come around them on a flank, trap them underneath their tower, that is where they are going to be vulnerable. So there's like some windows specifically where I'm looking for OG. Probably not in this initial clear for Xerxes, with him starting on the bottom side of the map. Expect him to go for those early Predator boots, and then maybe if they can try to unlock Nuke Duck to roam out of this middle lane and go for a gank in that 5 to 8 minute window would be great.
Alfari and Finn trading in the top lane. Inspired did start at blue and could come up towards here, but Alfari, with the Ruthless Predator stun early on, is winning out on those traits.
Yeah, the fight also looks really bad at the start too, because notice Finn only built a refillable potion at level 1. This is fairly standard to go for. Of course, we'll upgrade into a Dorans a little bit later, as Xerxes is going to run into Inspired here.
Both junglers have Smite. And the red buff resets. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Vander has been jumped on by Destiny. You can see Destiny using the Aftershock to try and tank that up. Hansama unable to connect with the second Mystic Shot, so ends up being a worthwhile trade for the Origen bottom lane.
Meanwhile, Inspired is still here, but it's really hard to steal any camps away from Agragas. He can time his W with just a ton of percent HP damage, as well as that Q and the Smite all in combination, so not the easiest thing to pull off. Refocusing down towards this bottom lane, because we saw Destiny jump on Vander right at the start. I don't think that was a great trade from him. He, of course, had to use a potion, and honestly, a lot of the poke that you put down onto a Yuumi doesn't stick inside the lane, because when you go for the all-in, you're going to have to hit that ADC, so we'll be looking to Destiny to jump on Hansama for the rest of this lane.
I think Destiny actually used the Ignite in the lane as well, which is, that's a big cooldown to have lost, because you have the Zoomies heal from the Yuumi, you've still got heal on Vander and the exhaust as well, so you really wanted that Ignite to try and get the burst damage in.
Well, really good news for OG's side is that Vander, you can see, is almost completely out of mana after trying to spam heals on Hansama, it seems, and Hansama is running pretty low himself, and because he's not rocking a teleport either, he's not going to be able to get out of this lane for a while, and if he does, it means he won't be able to get a tier or a sheen on that first purchase.
Inspired looking for the Q here, it's going to land onto Alfari, who still has the stun. Xerxes just around the corner, but he's gone the long way round. Alfari flashes away, there's the belly bump, and Inspired takes it, flashes away, but in the end goes down. Good counter gank there by Origen.
Yeah, Xerxes was in a really uncomfortable position right there with Alfari running away from him. He said, screw it, flashes underneath the tower, and then interrupts Inspired on that ward hop. So already reading him in what should have been a bit of a weaker early jungle matchup here and getting the first blood to boot.
Have another look at that play. You can see Inspired was here first. Alfari knocked up against the wall.
It's funny, too, because neither jungler has a red buff either. Still, Xerxes is like, well, where do I go? Do I go to the right to help Alfari, or do I go to the left? Left is the call, and ends up being the right call, too. And minions even helping to finish off that kill. We'll reset the blue buff on Xerxes. We'll give him control of this topside Scuttle Crab. And if he wanted to, he could path down bot lane to go for the double crab. I think if I were him, I would try to stay on the top side of the map, since his Raptor camp is going to be respawning at level 4. It gives him a whole lot of golden EXP. And the red buff's there, too. But but instead it will be a path down towards bot side because you look and there is pressure coming out of that upset Destiny duo as well.
You can see they've already got about 13 CS lead down towards that bottom side. Destiny was able to stop Hunsummer from backing in the lane, and it means that they continue just to push in this wave. As you said, Vanda's still very low on mana down here, so we'll see if Origen decide to go for that bot lane dive they talked about on the analyst desk.
Yeah, I don't think they can. Xerxes still hasn't got a base off. He's full HP, right? But no flash. That makes it a little bit difficult. And the timing with him moving
Just
down
on the
here is a
ward.
little bit late. So they're actually going to have to probably attempt this on the next wave. There's still quite a... Actually, that minion wave is gigantic. Did not see all those.
They're going to do this. They're still exhausted. They're still heal on Vanda. And Summer still has the flash. Upset.
Ignite's just about to come back up for Destiny as well.
Oh, they're going to go for it. You have to feel Origen trying to up the pace, up the tempo, get some early kills here in this game.
No, the TP
teleport
goes in the
used
mid.
by Larson in mid lane. They know it's at least a 3v2 at most. Here comes the counter teleport. Destiny cleanse away from Hunsummer as the stun lands. The exhaust is already on upset. Xerxes jumps in. Hunsummer able to escape, but Nukeduck is here in time. Hunsummer will fall. Nukeduck gets away from the tower aggro, and now it's just Vanda trying to fight for his life. But the zoomies, Nukeduck's going to die. Nukeduck's going to die to the cat. Take a slap to the back, and Larson comes in to keep his bot laner alive.
OG waited so long to go for that tower dive, and Vander with 0 mana, with 0 HP underneath the tower, is able to trade back as well. There are so many different things at play going on that we'll have to dive into this replay, because it really was kind of crazy, right? OG are trying to push out this next wave, a little bit of a delay, and as the observers correctly highlight here, when the LeBlanc TP's in the mid lane, Corki gets the reset off and can come bot. But of course that E goes completely wide by Destiny, with them trying to come in here. The instant cleanse buys some time here for Hansama, and then with Destiny taking the tower, he has to leave. Now Nukeduck takes a shot. Who's gonna tank the tower? Destiny, Xerxes, they don't have flash. Upset doesn't want to do it, so Nukeduck does it himself, while the rest of his team has to run away, because again, all the minions were gone, and had there been more of a wave there, they could have actually stuck around.
I actually wonder if Nukeduck retook tower aggro with his Gatling gun as he stepped back forward underneath the turret, because it looked like he dropped it, and then as he walked back in, he took it with the
It could have
Gatling
also
gun.
been the corrupting potion too. Like there are a lot of different things that could have messed him up right there.
It wasn't the best tower dive for Origen, but they do have 1,000 gold lead. You can see about a 17, 18 CS lead in the top lane, going up towards 20 now in the bottom lane. It's only 3, but we have seen Hunsummer kept away from the wave for a while. Xerxes with the Predators trying to get in here. Alfari not able to get close enough for the stun, and so Finn will be able to walk away. Still yet to burn his flash or his teleport. Alfari, this could be a little bit greedy.
That's just rude. I mean, what that ends up doing is it denies the next minion wave as well, right? Like, Finn could, in theory, teleport back into this lane, but with your jungler on the bottom side of the map and Xerxes still around there, he's just going to have to give that entirely up, you would think. Maybe, though, because Alfari hasn't gone for a base in quite a while, he thinks that with full HP coming back on in and the ultimate all the CC, he can't really be dove.
Inspired will realize that Xerxes is on the top side of the map and go for the Mountain Dragon. First Drake of the game will be secured by Rogue at the 7.5 minute mark, and now we'll see as the level 6s start to come in across both of these teams. Who is going to go for that first fight? Because we've had a couple of skirmishes, but when you have things like a Leona ult and a Felius ult and the Grag assault, I'm expecting more 3v3s, more 4v4s.
Yeah, well, Inspired is 1 camp away from hitting level 6. I was wondering whether or not he would go for the invade, try to snag away a camp. That won't be the case, though. He had a ward on the top side of the map that spotted Xerxes pathing down towards the bottom side, so...
Destiny goes in with the engage, but Hunsummer, this is the power of Ezreal into Leona. You just jump away. Very easy to escape. You can buffer your E, even through the Shield of Daybreak stun.
All right, here we go. Okay, Nukeduck ended up canceling his recall, so he's going to push out 1 more wave, but the package is up and ready for the taking here. With Xerxes on the bottom side of the map, and the way that OG are very slowly pushing this wave in, I would really like to see if they could time a gank on this next wave here with Nukeduck. Of course, when you pick up the package, you will get the home guard bonus coming through that lane as well.
Xerxes here. Destiny going in with a Hex Splash, but here comes Inspired. Oh, just kicks Destiny away, but Xerxes doesn't have the barrel, knocks them back. Inspire has to flash away. Destiny jumps forward onto Hunsummer, and Vanda dismounts. He realizes his AD carry is done for, and he will just retreat to Inspired. Good play from Origen.
Yeah, Origen jumping on a couple different people right there, but it worked out in the end, and they locked down Hansama, denying a minion wave. Again, I'm really happy to see how OG is playing this early game. I mean, specifically, if you put a lens on towards Xerxes, he was a jungler that was so hyped up coming into this year as one of the leaders on this team, one of the players that was supposed to take them to a very high place in the standings. But he has not really lived up to that hype for me. He has not been super active in the early games, and I just really like how he has identified that he needs to look for these dives around the bottom lane, and he's just denied so many minions from both Finn and Hansama.
You see how much gold has been funneled into Upset. He's leading by about 8,200 in that lane. He's at 4,000, about to take another turret plate for himself. First tower of the game at the 9.5 minute mark, and won't quite fall.
That is sad.
Cast a curse, guys. Cast a curse. Upset actually
9
needs to be
HP on that tower.
a little bit careful, because they can chase him down here. He doesn't have flash, does have the heal, but they won't go any further. Meanwhile, Destiny's come towards the mid lane. And I want to stress just how important this game is for Rogue. If they lose here, they're only 1 win ahead of XL, as Destiny looks for the mid lane flank. But Larssen is going to be very slippy on this little one. Waiting for him to use something like the Distortion or even his Mimic.
Here comes the Hex Flash.
Here comes the Hex Flash to jump in. Oh, great dodge there. But here comes the damage. Can't dodge that. Destiny takes the kill. Destiny assists with the kill.
Yeah, Larssen tried his best right there. Sets up for another one on towards Xerxes. Xerxes already has that Runic Echoes finished off, so very powerful at the moment. And while Upset was able to survive in the bot side, his support made that roam into the mid lane. OG are playing very, very proactively. You can see good stuff from literally everyone at the moment, and every single lane from Rogue now continues to fall behind as OG continue to punch them all over the map.
I mean, Origen have a 3,000 gold lead, and we're not even 11 minutes into the game here, and this is breakneck stuff for Origen. Okay, usually we're looking at this sort of scoreline at the 20-minute mark.
Oh no, they are so dead.
They're going for the tower here. Upset uses the heal, gets the turret down, and there's the root on Hans Summer. Uses the cleanse to get away with the final chapter in the flash. He will escape for the moment. Xerxes does land the barrel, but they decide not to go any further because Larssen's on his way, as is Inspired. They're jumping forward. The Prowling projectile is going to land on Xerxes, but will they go any further? Larssen jumps in, double chains, but Destiny turns it straight back around. The damage on Larssen takes him down to about half HP. Origen able just to continue their slow march back towards their turret. Destiny takes a little bit more damage, but you just can't find the connections here.
Yeah, Rogue are so hungry to fight back in any way that they can. That's, you know, 2 turret plates top, 2 in mid, the entire tower down bot side as well. So OG already building up quite an advantage. Honestly, I'm surprised that Rogue's bot lane got out of that one safely, but I suppose when you have a heal and a cleanse and a flash, they didn't even need the exhaust. Yeah. They still held on to that one. They're going to be all right this time around.
Final chapter doing work there. Yuumi, of course, so prioritized in a lot of drafts these days because of her ability to keep people safe, but also her ability to sit on a bruiser late game and just continue to buff them up. Yuumi Ezreal is something we see. Yuumi Olaf, Yuumi Aatrox can work very well as well. Expect it to be mostly Hans Summer that Vander is coupling with this game. And a few minutes ago, we saw Inspired start up the Rift Herald. He wasn't able to take it, so Xerxes now is going to start it up for himself. Origen have pretty much complete control of this game at the moment, actually keeping their bottom lane down towards the bottom side, even though that turret has fallen.
Yeah, basically what they're trying to do is they're having Xerxes solo out this Rift Herald 20 seconds before the Drake spawns, keeping their bot side down here to be able to push out that wave and then move in to take both objectives very, very quickly. And because Rogue are so behind at this point, Origen are pretty comfortable knowing that they probably don't have any deep vision inside of the river to actually spot that one out. So they're going to run in towards the mid lane with the Herald. I'd like to see them place it. They're going to do that right now. And once again, they can deny Hansama so many minions off of this tower just by running around the corners and zoning them away. Because if you look at it, OG are constantly grouping up around the waves crashing against the tower. Rogue are not always there, right? Inspired inside of his jungle, not walking into the lane to help them out. Not that they'd be able to do a whole lot, but it always is this numbers advantage for OG on the minion wave crashes that is netting them such an advantage this game.
Going to look for their first dragon of the game. We'll have a look at some of the completed items here. And Luden's Echo finished on Larssen, Sunfire Cape now on Finn. I expect Alfari to be pretty close to a Black Cleaver. He's almost finished that cull, only 2 stacks left on it. Essence Reaver complete on an Upset where you've only got a Sheen and a Pickaxe on Hans Summer. He'll be building up towards the Manamune. When you can get that stacking up as Ezreal, you really have a lot more power, but as you said, he's been denied so much experience, so much CS, and so much gold from the map just by being forced behind his turret so often.
Yeah, Rogue are in a pretty awkward position regardless in terms of itemization, but to add insult to injury, basically every player, I think, wants to get Merc Treads this game, right? You know, you have the double AP jungle mid combo. You have so much CC all across the board. Like, yes, Ninja Tabis are valuable. You have 2, 3 auto attackers if you include Renekton on the other side. But I think just the ability to get away from a lot of the engage tools from OG is going to be very, very potent in this one.
So let's talk about sort of next steps for these two teams here. And we see Origen very much in control of the game. 5,000 gold ahead. It feels like they can kind of just push lanes that they want to push and force Rogue into bad positions. But is there a point at which Rogue can come back into it?
I think there are some tools, like, right, the analyst desk was talking a lot about how this Renekton pick eventually shouldn't be able to do a whole lot, and, like, eventually Hansama should have, you know, the money to sort of survive that initial burst. Like, he has the cleanse, right, so he should always pretty much be able to get away from the Renekton, but I don't think Renekton's the pivotal pick, because you always have Destiny and Xerxes teaming up to try and, you know, find you underneath your tower, so they need a lot of time if they're going to survive.
Larson steps straight into Xerxes' face, but is able to dodge away with the distortion. Upset on his way up here as well. He will be spotted on that control ward. Inspired has joined the party as Nukeduck pushes in the wave. It feels like Rogue could give this one up, but instead they decide to defend as Xerxes and Destiny decide they don't want any more of the action. They back off towards the blue buff.
Yeah, so one thing that I've noticed that slows Origen down a lot in their mid games in particular, because like this team isn't necessarily like allergic to getting early game leads, right? Like they do generally do well inside the lanes, but they are very willing to just give up on a play to go back and farm. And this is a case where they push out that middle lane. There's nothing else for them to get, so they're going to bring 4 members up to the top side of the map.
Larson's doing a really good job of sort of clearing out bits of the wave, you know, culling bits of the wave to make sure that there's never a huge minion wave pushing in on that top lane tower. Makes it a lot harder for Origen to set up the dive that they would want. As you say, they're a team that chases perfection, and if they can't see the perfect play, they tend to just accept that they can scale up, go back, farm, and then get their next items.
Yeah, I do think already I'm seeing some adjustments from Origen, though, and how they're playing. Upset by himself, though, is maybe a little bit ambitious here, but we'll dodge away from the slow from Yuumi. What I actually really like to see them do is these sort of full map shifts, because it's not just looking for the tower dive and top lane. Like, even when plays aren't happening, they're doing a lot of good things. If you noticed, like, bot lane originally, Alphari pushed all the way into the tower, and then rotated up to pick up mid lane as well. And what that was trying to accomplish was to allow OG to put 4 members in topside to burst down that tower. Now, it was a little bit slow, and Rogue were able to clear away that wave, so Nukeduck ended up resetting and going bot side, but this idea, OG are going to try and do again and again. This time, it was Nukeduck in bot lane pushing it out. Now he comes into mid lane, and that full shift of pressure allows OG to again have 4 members in the topside jungle and take down that tower, while also funneling resources into their solo lanes.
You can see CS leads across the board for Origen. Only 1 in the mid lane, but it's still a CS lead.
There you go.
Still counts on statistics, and with a Inferno Dragon up in a minute and a half, you have to expect Origen will be eyeing that one up pretty hungrily. You can see Rogue trying to get as much vision around here as they can. We do have an Infernal Rift, Ender, and I know you like to talk about how much that can affect gameplay and how much the map changes can affect fights. With an Ornn, an Infernal Rift to me feels like a pretty feels bad moment.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, it opens up the map a little bit more. I don't think it's necessarily the worst thing in the world, because, of course, the initial cast of Ornn's ult is going to slow people down. What I think Infernal Map actually does most interestingly is how it changes how you play for a vision game, right? Like, you lose a couple of brush in, you know, both quadrants of your jungle, but also it just opens up the terrain in such a way that it becomes much easier to reclaim vision in your own jungle.
Yeah.
Usually, the red buff side of your map is very hard to put vision in once the enemy team takes control, because there's so many walls, so many brush they could be sitting in. Like, you have to sweep through a lot to make it happen. But what this will mean is for Rogue, it makes it easier to get vision around Dragon. For OG, it makes it easier for them to get vision around Baron, and that may end up hurting Rogue just a little bit, where the Infernal Map is a little bit... It takes away some of the innate advantage of blue side in their ability to easily get vision inside their own jungle on the top side of the map.
You can see right now Origen are trying to put the vision in the red side jungle of Rogue. It's very difficult for Rogue to fight because they are about 5,000, almost 6,000 gold behind now. Origen just keep taking those incremental advantages. We do see that Sunfire Cape upgraded to the Forge Fire Cape. And the Abyssal Mask is on its way for Finn. Iceborne Gauntlet is the choice here for Hansama. Wants some more kite ability, wants to be able to get out of fights and keep people like a Gragas and people like a Renekton at arm's bay.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I don't love the Iceborne Gauntlet choice here right now.
You know what it does do? Frozen Fist.
Yeah, you know what Trinity Force does.
Yeah, I mean, who wants a Trinity Fusion when you could have a Frozen Fist? It's a good way of getting Frostbite.
No.
Huh?
No, I want him to get the damage, right? Like, he's doing the damage on this team. He needs to have the poke. And honestly, like, OG has so many, like, blinks to get on you that I don't think the slows are going to be super, super valuable for him. Like, of course, what it means is like, a cheaper second item. It gets him into the Blade of the Ruined King a little bit faster. But again, you don't have a ton of HP stackers on the other side with, like, the Gragas inside of the jungle as opposed to any of these, like, fighters or tank junglers. So I think he would have been better off to go for that Trinity Force.
I understand your reasoning, especially since you have a lot of slows and a lot of disengage on your team anyway with the Yuumi, with the Ornn ult, and even with Inspired. using his kick as a defensive tool if needed. But we'll see how Hans Sommer pilots the Ezreal. There is Rift Herald available 30 seconds before that's about to drop off the map. It has been aggroed here by Origen, trying to get it at the last possible opportunity, and it should be a pretty easy to cure. I don't think Rogue will want to fight too much over a measly Rift Herald at this point.
Yeah, so the Rift Herald, taking it this late in the game is interesting because right now they have all the outer turrets gone, right? Like, OG aren't going to be able to use that to siege there, so if they use the Rift Herald, it would be to siege for, like, a gold tower, right? Because, like, taking any of these inner towers isn't going to mean a lot in terms of how you control the map or control the rest of the game. What OG can use that Rift Herald for, though, is to either set up a pressure point on the bottom side of the map if they want to make a play around the Baron, or, you know, in 3 minutes' time when that Infernal Drake is spawning, they could do it on the opposite side. Or what the ultimate, you know, throwdown move is if OG can somehow secure the Baron buff and use Baron and Herald at the same time, dude, there's no counterplay.
I feel like you're that sort of Magic the Gathering player who's just like, I like really big creatures all the time. I buff my 3/3 to make it a 12/12,
Dude,
then I swing at you with Trample.
I'm going to be honest, I followed absolutely none of that.
Okay, if it was Elder Scrolls, you would have followed all of it.
Yes.
But I feel like you're that Elder Scrolls player that just like gets a really big horse and runs through everyone else.
Do you think you can get, like, bigger horses in that?
Honestly,
like, that's
I
just
don't
not
play
how that
Elder
works,
Scrolls.
dude.
No one
Oh.
does. See? No one does. They're cheering not playing Elder Scrolls.
No, they're all fan. Never mind.
You play other games but League of Legends anyway?
No.
Inspired goes in with a kick. Well played, Xerxes shut down. Perfect timing to get us out of that train of thought. Good stuff from Rogue. Second kill of the game for them. And now they will use that time that they have a man advantage just to get some vision control around the Baron. You have to feel they're on their way up across there. A litany of wards, a slew of wards in their own jungle, but yet to see them in the river.
Yeah, right now they get that nice pick. I honestly missed a lot of the setup because you were talking about the Elder Scrolls, but hey, you know, sometimes that happens. What this will accomplish for Rogue, though, is just, you know, more time, as you were saying. They need it, like, Rabadon's soon to come through here for Larson, and eventually, I think there could be a point where now that, like, Ezreal has 40% CDR, perhaps, like, you are going to start outranging a lot of the characters on the other side, right? If you're landing Qs as the Ezreal, you outrange the Aphelios on his auto attacks. If you're landing them, like, you outrange the Corki, too. So, like, this is a game where there's a ton of pressure on Hans Sommer once his itemization starts to come through and he starts dealing significant damage in these fights, especially with the Yuumi on top of him. He will be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, as you said, Origen don't really have any health stackers, so every one of those Mystic shots is going to hit hard and hurt. Rift Herald was used here. It's just the gold Herald, as you said, just trying to take down...
Yeah,
oh.
I don't know about that one.
Okay, well, maybe...
Seems like it was timing out. Well, and also,
push.
like...
They're going to push?
They're going to push into the top lane here.
This is Rogue a little bit late on the response. Rift Herald is stopped for the moment at the minions. Inspired's going to get hit with the Zenith Blade, jumps away. Here comes the call of the Forge God. Destiny pops his stopwatch. The Rift Herald's going to charge in on that inhibitor tower, and he manages to flash out because Finn mistimed the knock-up. And now with the Rift Herald pushing in, Origen are going to open up the inhibitor turret. That was more mistake than anything else you have to feel from both teams, but Origen will rub their hands very happily with the inhibitor down in the top lane at 23 minutes.
Yeah, this is a really interesting game state now for Origen, right? Because you take that top lane inhibitor, which will give you pressure. Now they're going to get scouted out. Oh, that actually gives Rogue false information. They don't think Baron is getting started up. Smart move by Inspired. Still, nope, not going to run into the river. Oh, no. That ult actually just trolled them so hard because Inspired was going to run into river to check the Baron. Instead, he doesn't see anyone going through this jungle because OG had already fully swept out the vision. OG get a free Baron. They have the top lane inhibitor down as well. What could have been a tough situation for them has now been a massive win, and they should be able to convert this into so much more.
Origen now have a 7,000 gold lead. Essence Reaver and the Runaan's complete on Upset. Gargoyles just finished on Destiny. Nukeduck has his Infinity Edge as well. It's going to be so difficult for Rogue to fight back against this. There's an Infernal Drake as well. We're going to have a look at the vision supplied here by Hans Sommer's ultimate.
So right now they have no wards inside their jungle, and it sees nothing.
Oh my goodness.
They were right around that corner on the left too.
Ping comes out, and then immediately Origen just started up.
Boom. Aphelios with the white gun too, so like, He's going to be able to burst that down super, super quickly. And honestly, if Origen hadn't been able to convert that into a Baron pretty quickly, I don't know if that play favors them. It was a very early inhibitor on the top side of the map, so Rogue could have used that lane to farm pretty safely and then also not be stranded on the opposite side of the map to that Baron objective. But instead, now they are going to have big pressure coming through from the Super Minions top side and now set up the siege down towards bot.
Remember at the 10-minute mark when I said 1-4 for Origen. This is very blistering pace for them. Had a kill in the last 14 minutes, Ender, but Origen have just continued to get the gold lead further and further ahead, and it's so hard for Rogue to fight against it. Larson pushed out the top wave. He's now here trying to defend the bottom. Baron upped minions make it a little bit tricky for Rogue to find any sort of engage, but Finn has the call of the Forge God. Could look for a fight if he wanted.
I will say OG are a bit overly grouped right now, really committing hard to the 5 members in the bot lane. Just basically donated 2 minion waves there to Rogue. That's about a minute off their Baron buff that they're not going to be used. While top lane had previously been fully pushed by Larson, so the super minions, while they are stacking up, right, you're going to have 2 big ones in that top lane coming in now. That isn't super useful to Origen yet, because mid lane also wasn't pushing either. So now the wave will finally come in. And if they can set up a trap, it's going to be really, really good.
Oh, good dodge out from the Moonlight Vigil. That had the Graviton. That would have rooted if it had connected. But Hans Summer, quick on the finger, quick on the trigger to jump away. And now Origen looking for the catches once again. You can see Rogue, total darkness. No vision at all in their own jungle. Really no awareness of what Origen are doing, apart from the fact that they are sieging the base. And now that is the 7th tower of the game for OG. And Rogue have to get back and defend their Nexus turrets because there are super minions pushing in. Origen going to push in towards the mid inhib. Upset with the Calibrum, the range on the sniper just being able to harass down that turret.
Yeah, that's going to be the end. Oh, they're actually going for the fight.
Call of the Forge God inspired, looking for the flank, misses the Sonic Wave, though an upset with the QSS is able to get away. Alfari has a flank position here, but instead he just goes back towards the bottom lane. The final chapter didn't land, and perhaps that's the last page in the book of this game for Rogue, because there are super minions on the base. There's Alfari in the bottom lane. Larson trying to jump forward, do what he can, but you really can't find the engage that you're looking for. Alfari still down towards the bottom side. No one's answering him. No one's going down there.
Yeah, Rogue
eventually will go, but
Rogue are just sitting there, right? They wasted all their engage options in the mid lane, did not end up pulling the trigger, so that tower almost goes down. And I feel like if Rogue had not called in the Forge God there, OG were just going to leave. Their Baron was timing out, but now those towers are going to be low and won't be able to regen over that 33% threshold on the tower. Still, you have to assume the wave clear is good enough, but on the cannon minion, a couple of ranged auto attackers just need some poke damage before that knocks down.
And see, Origen, all they want is a little bit of chip each time they step forward. They don't need much more than that. Hans Summer's still very healthy. I think he's going to go back and get a Blade of the Ruin King here. Sitting on the Bilgewater Cutlass, that will be a big spike in damage from the Ezreal, but will it be enough? He can get it upgraded by Ornn. I'm actually not sure what the Blade of the Ruin King upgrade is called. We'll find out in a minute.
I can't remember. Oh well.
2 Blades of the Ruin King.
2 Blades. That used to be something you could exploit. Not anymore. Now, OG. Look, that Baron was less than ideal. I'm going to be honest and say they weren't actually able to break into the base any further. I think they stalled out a bit on how they managed their waves, especially towards the start of that Baron buff. Regardless, though, they are on soul point. So even though that Baron didn't convert into much, the Infernal Drake is going to be coming up in a minute and a half, shortly followed up by that Baron buff, and they are strong enough to continue to win a fight and use those 2 buffs to try and close out the game on that next attempt. But the inhibitor has respawned for Rogue, so they finally have the ability to reclaim some territory on the map.
Nukeduck, the only level 16 in the game at the moment, has so much damage from those cannon barrages. If you can connect with them, Predator was used us. He puts the control ward in the bush as Finn steps back. It's a 5v5 in the mid lane. Both teams don't really want to play around side lanes right now, because that Infernal Dragon is up in just a minute's time. Alfari with a flank, but he's on a ward.
And at this pivotal point in the game, I have to remind you, it is the might of the Ruined King.
It's an awful name.
That Hans Sama does have now. I do actually like the pathing from Inspired. He's getting really clever on this Lee Sin because the engage options aren't fantastic from him to come around on the wall, but look at OG's rotation in towards the bottom lane.
They're just saying Nukeduck can defend versus these guys if he needs to. We can give up 1 turret. We're not going to lose too much from it.
Also, Rogue have to get through 2 more towers, and this HP bar is so low that OG have just walked straight through that bottom side jungle side. We don't care about top side vision. We're just going to take that with ease now as they expose another inhibitor.
And it pulls Rogue out of their positioning as well. Now Origen can push through this red side jungle, get all the vision down they want with only 20 seconds left on the Infernal.
Yeah.
You can actually see Larson, Larson TPing into the mid lane here as they try and get pressure on.
So this is a
on the
big
map.
deal. This is a really big deal. Larson just finished off his Void Staff. So this may be the only fight where itemization is relatively even for Rogue at this point. 3 on the mid lane, 3 on the AD carry too. We already said Han Sama needs to stay alive in these fights, avoid the all-in dive from OG, and then Rogue have a chance. But it's going to be really hard if they get locked inside of this river, especially with OG coming around on the flank.
Here we go. Dragging down to 4,000. Origen stepping forward. Solar Player hits on Spired, and there's the Zenith Blade follow-up. You can see the damage already as Upset goes on a killing spree. Court of the Forge God is coming down as Upset gets locked up with it, but Larson's already down to half. The chains connect, and he gets one. Finn still chasing onto the backline, trying to get onto Upset, but he can't quite do it. True Shot Barrage isn't quite enough as Upset eats the honey fruit. Alfari now has the flank onto Finn, onto Hans Summer, onto Larson, but Hans Summer is able to get away with the help of Vanda. Now it's still a 4v4. Finn still has the flank. Upset still low, but you can see Larson's been chunked out as well. Vanda jumps back onto him and heals him up.
Yeah, they're just playing off of skill shots right now. You can see, even with Inspired going down immediately, Han Sama can do so much work, but their jungler is down, Xerxes is alive, and has a smite. So Rogue are trying to keep him enticed, but there's a TP coming in on the bot side. It will not be a flank attempt here.
Both of them.
From Alfari or Nukeduck. Instead, they will just group up and try to take down this objective.
Inspired's back up, but he's decided to try and help out with the bot wave. Finn on his way, no Call of the Forge God for him. There's no smite here. That's the soul for Origen. They get the Inferno, but Finn finds the engage. It's only onto Xerxes. Upset still alive on the back of the fight. You've got to watch that at Belios. Destiny has a flank position.
Yeah, Rogue need to back away and sprint straight to the Baron on the top side of the map. Inspired has respawned, and Xerxes is going to be dead for another 30 seconds. OG get the permanent buff. They get the Infernal Soul, but it's now Rogue's opportunity to start up this Baron, and their best bet, honestly, is for OG to try and fight the 4v5 into them. Crucially, though, Vander has almost 0 mana, so this Yumi is not going to do basically anything. That's so key.
Here we go. Here we go. Origen looking to see if they want to fight the 4v4. They don't have to take it if they don't want to. Finn has the ult still on cooldown. Hans Sama, he's healed straight back
so
up.
much damage, but OG have no flashes, and both Larson and Han Sama have theirs. This should be a one fight for Rogue, but they're stalling out so much.
Larson unable to find the connection onto Nukeduck that he wanted. Rogue forced off the Baron, and now Origen have the fast track to the mid lane. Rogue, you got to get back, you got to defend. Call of the Forge God did just come back off cooldown. Maybe Finn uses it for wave clear.
Yeah, I wonder if OG just turn around after taking this tower and go straight back to the Baron. Finn is still very, very low here. I think that may be their highest percentage play. Instead, they are going to commit towards this objective. Could be looking at a fight very soon.
Inhibitor goes down. Origen go down towards the bottom side as well. They just have the fast track.
Just gonna take everything. Every single inhibitor is exposed.
Rogue aren't pulling the trigger. They're not using the Court of the Forge God, but in the end they do. Knock up onto Upset. Hans Sama and Larson trying to jump forward. Destiny misses the Zenith Blade, but you can see the final chapter really doesn't do too much. Origen now on the back foot as they retreat, but Rogue, you used your one engage tool and you didn't find the mark.
And you still have to fight into this Infernal Soul. The items were finally starting to come through from Rogue, but now it feels like everything is stacked against them. Their window, where they were in control, where they had the ability to fight back, truly from, you know, an advanced position there, was at the Baron, but they were not willing to commit to that. Instead, stalling out, saying, "Give us more time." This is the play in that bot side jungle, or in the bot again, and it just doesn't all connect for them, right? Rogue get double cast away by Xerxes there. The lost chapter is just
Final chapter.
It becomes a lost chapter, going into Narnia in the bot lane, right off the side of the map there.
And it's just so difficult for Rogue to find those answers because they're trying to get onto Upset, but Upset can just stand so far away from the fight. You've always got Destiny acting as a bodyguard in front of him as Alfari jumps on towards Finn. Finn able to dodge away for the moment, but you can see him already get chunked out to about half HP. Larson, Hans Sama, Inspired, they've got a good flank position.
Well, here's the problem. If Rogue push through... he jumps straight into it!
But immediately gets the cleanse away, but Inspired has been caught. The jungler is down. Larson trying to put the damage down as Hans Sama gets chunked out by Nukeduck, able to jump away with the arcane shift. Alfari now on Larson, but he can't quite get there. You can see Hans Sama takes a bit of damage as well. Moonlight Vigil's going to connect. That's the Infernum coming down. It won't be enough. Xerxes down to half, but Origen, they've got the fast track. They've got the mid lane. They can just push in. Upset stepping forward.
Upset going for the kills here. It turns around with Han Sama. Han Sama has to stay alive, has to get back to the base somehow, because right now Alfari is in the base, pushing for the end. Finn is going to start channeling his recall. Larson too. Han Sama is posted up here, trying to stop OG.
Jumped on with the Zenith Blades. Xerxes takes him out. And Vander's not going to be able to do too much here. Nukeduck chases it in. The Call of the Forge God's been used in the bases. Alfari is chasing chased away, but the rest of Origen are on their way. They can sense it. They can taste blood in the water as they look for the win.
Origen just keeps going for these back doors here with Alfari. Alfari gonna get chunked down very, very low, but ults to stay alive through the GA. Now all 5 members of OG are here in the base. It's a 3v5 with just 1 tower to defend.
Origen with a win would top the table alongside Fnatic and perhaps G2, and it looks like Rogue aren't going to be able to hold on to their base for much longer. The second Nexus tower falls as Inspired jumps in, but already Larsen's dead, Inspired's down as well, and Finn can only walk wounded back to the fountain. It will heal him up, but it won't heal their hopes of winning this game. Origen top the table at the end of week 6.
Origen, they came out fast and they came out strong here and played the map just about as well as you possibly can through the early game with Xerxes tower dives denying Rogue so much to the plays where they just snuck into the Rogue base, took down inhibitors, and snuck a Baron too. Just threw and